more car-like. The result is a vehicle that's a bit stale and not exactly in keeping with the rest of the Honda lineup, but the Pilot still has several solid basic qualities that should serve a family well. So let's go ahead and check out this 2015 Honda Pilot Touring and see how it stacks up against its competitors. Now this one I have here is the Touring trim, and it comes with these really nice 18-inch alloy wheels, and then this one is also in the premium exterior color, the white diamond pearl exterior, and it looks pretty nice in my opinion. Now, like I said earlier, the design of the Pilot is very blocky, and it's getting very long in the tooth, I have to say. And don't expect to find anything like HIDs or LED daytime running lights, and not even LED tail lights either. But this car has been out since the 2009 model year, this generation, but it is getting pretty long in the tooth. Now here's the key fob design for the vehicle, and along with the design of the actual car itself, the design of the key fob is getting very plain and boring looking. Looks like it came straight out of the 2000s. And there's no smart key available or push button start. But you do have your normal panic button to release your tailgate, and then your lock and your unlock. Now, like I said, it is a white diamond pearl exterior with a gray leather interior. Here's your power driver seat adjustments, power recline, and your power lumbar too. Now, stepping on into the interior of the Pilot, I noticed that the step-in height is not as good as some other crossovers like the Toyota Highlander and Ford Explorer, and the overall design of the cabin is extremely utilitarian. But like I said, push-button ignition is yet to be offered on the Pilot. And you still have that old Honda chime. And what you're hearing is that 3.5 liter V6. Now, coming to your transmission, your gear selector is actually located right here. And you do have a 5-speed automatic transmission with lower gear selection. Don't expect to find a sport mode or paddle shifters or anything like that. And you do have a rear view camera, which is standard on every Pilot, with guidance lines. And you can actually change the views of the rear view camera by pressing down on this button right here. Pretty neat. And let's go ahead and cut on the lights and the hazards. Driver and passenger window are fully automatic in the Pilot. And let's go ahead and pop the hood and check out the engine bay. Heated exterior mirrors with LED turn signals integrated onto the mirrors. And the LED turn signals actually come with the Touring trim. You have halogen headlights with your halogen fog lights, front parking sensors as well. Very boxy front end. Under the hood you have a very reliable 3.5 liter V6 producing 250 horses with 253 pound-feet of torque, with EPA estimated mileage of 18 in the city and 25 on the highway. It is front-wheel drive, and this one is two-wheel drive, by the way. Four-wheel drive is optional. However, this powertrain isn't that powerful enough for the Pilot. It kind of feels slow and cumbersome. Now, competitors of the Pilot range from the Toyota Highlander, its long-term rival, and then you have the Ford Explorer, as well as the Chevrolet Traverse and the Dodge Durango, and the Nissan Pathfinder. So it's a pretty crowded segment. Now, trims on the Pilot range from the base model LX, which starts at $29,870, and that comes pretty well equipped with standard Bluetooth and a standard rear view camera. Then you have the EX trim, which starts at $32,120. Then you have the SE trim, which is actually a new trim for the 2015 model year, and that starts at $33,120. And then you have the EXL, which is basically the EX with leather, which starts at $35,370. And then you can go all the way up to the Touring with navigation and a rear seat entertainment system, which starts at about 40 grand. Now coming to the rear, you have dual exhaust tips, rear parking sensors, rear window wiper with a rear window defroster, and a third brake light too. And your Touring badging right there. And you do have a roof rack too. Now, like I said, EPA mileage is 18 in the city and 25 on the highway, and total vehicle price is around $40,000. Your memory seat settings for 2 people, power windows, power door locks, and your power mirrors too, of course. And you have a nice soft touch armrest with nice stitching as well. And let's go ahead and rev up the Pilot and see how she sounds. Very nice. Can always depend on those great reliable Honda powertrains. Now let's get to the build and materials. Build quality is pretty good in the Pilot. Everything fits well and is put well together. However, the materials are pretty mediocre. Up here on the dash, you have very hard touch and very scratchy plastics up here on the dash, and it goes all the way up to right there as well. And then up here, it is hard touch, but it has a decent graining to it. It's not like that scratchy plastic that you will find up on the dashboard. And then it's also very soft to the touch right here. But overall, the materials are pretty average. They're not that great. I have seen better materials, but they're just okay. They're kind of mediocre. Now let's get to the steering wheel design. You do have a leather wrap steering wheel too, of course. And you can kind of tell this is an older Honda design, especially by the way the controls are laid out and everything and the way they look. But over here is your steering wheel mounted audio controls, your cruise controls over here too as well. And then basically this right here, these buttons right here, are going to show you your vehicle information up in that little screen right there. And then coming to these set of buttons over here, it's your Bluetooth phone controls and your voice recognition. But overall, the design of the steering wheel is getting very dated. Now coming to the instrument and gauge cluster, this is also where it's getting very dated. These gauges look like they came out of a 2005 or 2006 model. They just don't expect to find anything like a TFT display or anything like that. They're just kind of boring in my opinion. Now let's get to the main head unit and the main center stack here. As far as the center stack goes, I love the user friendliness and the intuitiveness of it. And the buttons are very simple and easy to read, and I love how they went with traditional knobs and buttons and not touch sensitive. I hate those unless if they work very well. Now you do have dual zone automatic climate control. This is where all your climate control buttons are going to be, and then you have your heated seats too, low and high, your fan speeds and your temperatures as well, and your rear seat climate control buttons are right here as well. And then you have a nice little storage area right there. Now coming to this set of buttons right here, this is where all your media sources are going to be, where you could change to what media source you want. You have your AM, FM, XM satellite radio too, CD player, your hard drive, your USB and auxiliary input, and then your DVD entertainment system. And the slot for the DVD entertainment system is right here, and then you have your regular optical disc drive right there. And then you have your scan, your volume button right here, and then your tune. Now coming to the main head unit, this main head unit right here is, the layout of it is getting very dated. They have updated it within the past few years as far as the rendering of it goes, but the same layout, it's been the same layout for I don't know how long, especially the navigation. Navigation is just, it's just getting very dated. They need to update this. I wish they would update this, and even in some of their other cars too, as well. And like I said, they have updated it in recent years, but the layout of it has been the same for the past 10 years. But overall, the rendering of it is okay. You do have live traffic on here. You have your voice help, your setup, scenic route, road information, system and device information, and you have a calculator too up here. And you also do have a day and night mode, and you could change the brightness of the screen. And to zoom in and out, you just scroll like this. Now coming to these set of buttons, this is where you'll find your parking brake, then you have your parking sensors button right there, and then your traction control too. And then you also do have a manual, tilt, and telescopic steering wheel. Now coming to the seats are pretty supportive. However, they're very firm, and they're not soft or, you know, very cushiony. They're just very, very firm. And as far as the design of it goes, it looks very utilitarian and industrialized, I have to say. Now, as far as the ride goes, the ride is actually pretty comfortable in the Pilot. Now, as far as the driving dynamics go, it handles more like a truck than a car, and that's one of its downfalls compared to some of its competitors, which are handling more like cars instead of trucks. And that's due to the Pilot's very boxy design, I have to say. Now, as far as visibility goes, the visibility is actually pretty good. Outward visibility is actually pretty good for how big this vehicle is. And then you have lots of glass area. And then going to the back, however, back there, you do have a pretty thick pillar right back there. But thank God a rear view camera does come standard, right? Now coming up here, you have your auto dimming rear view mirror, your conversation mirror, and your sunglass container, your garage home link, your sunroof, so overall, what they really need to fix is the overall cabin design, the materials, and more technologically advanced features, and get rid of that utilitarian design that it has. And if they do that, the interior design will be much better than this generation Pilot. And this interior design, you know, it's more about function than style, I have to say. And it's less about luxury, I have to say. It's more about, you know, hauling your kids around and everything like that. Alright, and let's go ahead and check out the rear seat space as well as the cargo capacity. The power tailgate, which you can also activate from the key. Materials and build do follow through in the rear, I have to say, and I love that about the Pilot, that they didn't really cheapen out on the materials back here. And you still have a nice soft touch armrest and soft touch on the mid door panel, and decent quality on the upper door panel as well. You have your cup holders right here, and two little storage areas. Lots of storage cubbies, I have to say, that there is in the Pilot, which is great for families. Now sitting back here, you have dual map pockets, rear climate control buttons right there, and a 12-volt power outlet. Your seat DVD entertainment system. Cup holders with a rear center armrest. Now as far as the seats go, they're extremely firm, I have to say, and I'm not really a big fan of that. But you do have rear sunshades back here too, that comes on the touring trim. And as far as legroom goes back here, I can't really complain about legroom. I have the driver's seat to where my driving position would be, and I'm about 5'11", and I have a decent amount of legroom back here, so not half bad. But what I love about the Pilot is there's lots of storage areas. Now, you do have a little tow hook right here, and you have to remove this centerpiece, and that comes standard on the touring trim. You don't have to have to get an accessory to get the tow hook. That comes standard on touring. And then you have a power outlet back here, and these rear seats do fold down to maximize cargo room by pulling this right here. You do have a little storage cubby right there. And here is what it looks like with the rear seats folded down. And then right here is where you will find your spare tire. Alright. Cargo capacity is good for the class in the Pilot. Now, if you want to fold the second row seat down, just pull this up right here and then it folds right down. But if you want to get into the third row, pull this up and then it slides forward and then you have to push it. And then you just hop right in. Easy as that. Now sitting back here, I'm actually quite surprised, I have to say. There's actually a decent amount of legroom back here for a crossover SUV. And usually crossover SUVs that have third rows, I really can't fit back in them. But this one, I'm actually decently comfortable back here. And I'm actually quite surprised. You have your cup holders right here. I'm actually quite surprised. On the other side, you have a storage bin right there, as you can see. But on this side, you don't have one. It's just an armrest. And then you have your air vent right there. But yeah, I'm actually very surprised about how much legroom you can have back here and how comfortable it is back here. Alright. Powered passenger seat with power recline. Nice amount of storage cubbies right there. The glove box compartment, however, it's not damped, just slams right down, pretty cheaply made. However, it is kinda deep. Alright. So the 2015 Honda Pilot scores really highly for its passenger comfort, its superb utility for cargo both big and small, and that counts a lot for a family vehicle. But rival crossovers might prove to be more desirable when it comes to its features, its design, as well as its driving dynamics. So remember that this is Cameron Birch from Cameron's Car Reviews.